It's time for Tiger Talk, presented by Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Old Chicago, amazing craft beers and food, north of I-70 in Hayes. Old Chicago, share, reconnect, celebrate. Tiger Talk is also brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, providing the best in-home loans to the Tiger community since 1920. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, part of the University of Kansas Health System and the official physicians for Fort Hays State University Athletics. The certified public accountants of Adams, Brown, Barron, and Ball. Your trusted advisors providing you with commitment, experience, and integrity. VTI, your John Deere dealer, with locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. VTI, Valley Hope of Norton. Get help and find hope. The Taco Shop. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. You've never had it so good. Horizon Appliance and Mattress. TVs, appliances, Traeger grills, and Tempur-Pedic bedding. Open 7 days a week at 1501 East 27th in Hayes. And Eagle Communications. Internet, TV, phone. Eagle Communications. Our community connected.
And a good Monday, and welcome into Tiger Talk. Gerard Wellbrock with you as we have our first winter sports program of the year, and certainly the weather feels like it. We'll be talking men's and women's basketball with Mark Johnson and Tony Hobson. We record the program at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room over the noon hour on Mondays. Of course, be sure to check out their late night specials whenever you're in. Every day starting at only $3. It's all at Old Chicago, your pizza and craft beer authority. Fort Hays State well into the basketball season. In fact, not that far away from the start of conference play, believe it or not. It'll be here next week as they take on Nebraska Kearney, and we're joined by head women's coach Tony Hobson, whose team picked up a victory yesterday up in Kearney, knocking off Chadron State 89-59 to start their year 5-0 for the fourth consecutive season. And I guess we'll start there. 5 wins, no losses. Good start to the year.
Well, you can't ask for much more right now. Some of the, a couple of teams weren't quite as strong as I thought they might be, but they're playing some other games fairly tight. So you don't know if it's all them or if that's part us and part them. That's usually how it is. But we're off to a good start. Had a couple good tough exhibition games that were more just like tough games for us. So I think that helped us a lot getting ready for the beginning of the season. I think we're ready to be off and running instead of maybe struggling through those exhibitions and not getting as much out of it as we did. I thought we got a lot out of those.
Just going to bring that up. I mean, obviously, you had a chance to win both of those, and came down to late possessions. And sometimes in those Division I exhibitions, you don't get that. But one obviously opened some eyes around some of your opponents and has made them ready to go against you. But obviously, you got a lot out of it, and you maybe found out more about your team in those 2 games than in other years you maybe not able to do that.
Well, you're exactly right. A lot of times, you might get down where you can't use your regular rotation. There's a lot of factors that come in there, and sometimes you get overpowered physically, and that didn't really happen in either game. And so we use that to our benefit. I think it helped us a lot defensively because we were guarding very good athletes at every position, and we had to really bear down or they will expose you. Sometimes will embarrass you if you aren't ready to go. KU's off to a 5-0 start. Yeah. They haven't had a game in single digits yet, so we're by far their toughest game. K-State did lose a couple, but both to ranked people, so I think they're 3-2. So, they're not bad teams, and it was a good preseason for us, especially when a few of our games have turned out not to be real close. I think those 2 at least gave us some exposure and some experience on playing tight games, which a lot of times you need that going into conference, which will start next week.
And I guess for them, it's kind of the flip for them. Kind of help them get ready for their season. They got a taste of some close games, maybe closer than they expected. But whenever you can do that, it's a win-win for both programs, obviously, and a good experience for your ladies to get in those environments and play and have a chance to win those games. I'm sure they had a lot of fun.
Well, I think for them, I think for both of them, it was kind of a wake-up call. I mean, I think they. They go into those thinking they're going to win and probably a little overconfident. And I think for both of those, it was a good teaching type moment for the coaches. I mean, they don't want us to play them that tight, but they can use that to their advantage. And I think it showed on both their next exhibition games were blowouts of teams that are in our conference that we're not 40 points better than them. But the margins were 40 points. So I think it was a good deal for both of us, really.
As you look at your team going into this season, obviously you finished up last year strong. You made a great run in the conference tournament, got to the second round of the NCAA. In fact, Central Missouri's closest game in their run to a national championship was against you guys. So you had expectations with everybody coming back, but looks like your team didn't just sit on that and improved and got better. And as you said, we're ready to go from the get-go this year. Well,
I see added improvement, especially with Belle, and I think part of that's just the additional minutes that she's playing, and we're asking a lot more out of her, and she's delivering that. We're getting the same play, strong play out of our seniors from Tatiana, Carly, and they're just both, I mean, they're kind of different in that Carly, she's like the tortoise, and T's like the hare. They both get there just in different ways, and Carly kind of just gives us some stability, great defense at the point guard position. She's almost too unselfish. In fact, we're going to visit about that today. I don't really want her passing up open threes unless we're running clock down, because she's a very high percentage three-point shooter, and she has that point guard mentality where you're supposed to distribute, and sometimes you need to. I don't know. I've never experienced that. Never really played that position, so I don't know for sure the mindset, but. I mean, she's really good at what she does, but I wouldn't mind her taking a few more threes.
Well, she's got the Tigers off to a good start, 5-0. Don't play till Saturday when Missouri Valley College comes to town, and then, as we said, conference play right after that. We'll talk all about that and more as we move along. Tiger Talk recorded at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. We do it over the noon hour on Mondays. Old Chicago inviting you to join them for happy hour from 3 until 6, Monday through Friday. It's all at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Serious craft brews, seriously good food. We'll take a break, come back with more from women's coach Tony Hobson as we continue on Tiger Talk here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wurtenberger Construction.
I'm Patty Stoll, broker-owner of Coldwell Banker Executive Realty. We want your dreams to become a reality. Coldwell Banker Executive Realty prides itself in putting you first.
T down the lane, pulls up from 10, missed it off the back rim. Rebound Madison Mitty, wraps it underneath the Barbieri for a layup. Bell with 6 and a nice feed from Mitty. That was some of the action from last Tuesday. The Tigers in Wichita and defeated the Newman Jets 72-60. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. We're recorded over the noon hour on Monday at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. So make your plans to join us next week for the program. Talking some women's basketball with head coach Tony Hobson. They're off to a 5-0 start for the 4th consecutive year. I want to ask you about Lainey Page. Obviously, I don't think maybe folks appreciated how difficult it was last year to come in at semester, but not just joining at semester, but not even being a part of the program till then, and still had a good year. But boy, you can really tell she's been in the program and just looks so much more comfortable, more at ease, and you're seeing it in the numbers and the production that she's put up so far here in the young season.
Well, I think it wasn't only hard for her, but it's also hard for our whole team. I mean, it goes both ways, and if you don't have the right kind of person coming in, and you don't have the right kind of kids on your team to begin with, a lot of times that doesn't work. There's either some animosity, jealousy, whatever, on the kids that are already there when you have a pretty highly touted player coming in to join you. So I think she was really good at how she handled herself coming in. She didn't bring anything with her that wasn't likable. And then I think we have such a good group of kids that they want to win, and they accepted her. So it worked out about as well as it could have last year. But one of the things was she came in and she probably wasn't in real good shape. And as she was trying to work herself into shape, I think she developed a stress fracture in her foot, so she was in a boot, so she was held back a little bit by injury. She played through it, but you could tell, I think there was 2 or 3 games where I can think of, even in the Central Missouri game in the regional, I think she had 11 points at half and ended up with 12, 13. She'd have a good first half or until I took her out and she sat there, and then it would start bothering her. So, but she's a good, solid player, and she's deceptive on defense because she's so long. She tips a lot of passes. I think she's leading us in blocks, might be leading us in steals. If not, she's right up there. So a deceptively good player in other areas other than scoring, and a good scorer. She can score in a variety of ways. So, I'm really happy with her emergence, and I think that just comes with a little better health and a little more comfort, knowing what we want from her and just kind of fitting in with a group. And she's becoming a leader for us, and like I said, it takes a good person to get all these. You have 14 kids on the team, and to get them all on your side, you have to be you can't be fake, and they'll spot one of those right away. And like I said, you can't give enough credit to our players that were already here. They just, they want to win the game, and they want to have the best team possible. And if that means having her on the floor, then that's what they want. And right now, we need her on the floor.
Well, and she gives you obviously length on the perimeter, but you look at this team, one area that looks improved from a year ago is your defense, and that's a big part of it. But it looks like everybody's got, not to say bought in is the right word, but has elevated their play defensively. And obviously, you've got a lot of weapons on the offensive side, but it's become a much better defensive team.
Well, I think it probably starts with Carly, because she kind of sets the tone, and she's just kind of she's intelligent when she's defending the ball, and she picks her times to try to steal it. She's picked everybody at least once that we've played, sometimes twice. But I think probably the biggest improvement defensively on our team is Casey Kennett. She's really picked it up. We've been putting her on the other team's best scorer. We talk about Laney and her size. Casey's a big guard. She's 6 foot, all of 6 foot, and she plays on the wing. So you put those two on the wing, and it shuts down a lot of things that people try to do. But Casey's really playing excellent on the defensive side of the ball. She gets lost once in a while, but she makes up for it. She's more of a gambler. She's a riverboat gambler. She'll get a couple steals and go into the other end. She might get beat once, and it's kind of nice to have. I don't know if you want everybody all the same. We're a little unpredictable. I think we have a great defender coming off the bench in Madison Mitty, and she's kind of really came on the last. Well, at Newman, she had a good game, and over both games over the weekend, 2 good games. So she's kind of coming back, and that was an addition coming into this year. We didn't have her last year because of a knee injury. So she's really playing well defensively. We can bring in offense in droves with Taylor Rolfe. She's our leading 3-point shooter right now, and Whitney Clampett. I think you can't discuss very long without bringing up Whitney Randall.
I was going to bring that up. She's playing well.
I figured you would. She kind of got last year. She was freshman, kind of lost in the shuffle, and we just were deep. We had Emma, who was playing a lot of minutes at the 5. Bell would spell her, and then we had T and at the 4, who you knew was going to be in there a lot, and she just didn't get a lot of opportunity. But this year when she got it, she really took advantage of it, and she's turning into turn it into a solid score. She can post up. She can drive it. She's just turning into a good player. Runs the floor well. So that's kind of been our little wild card right now. She's kind of been a surprise for us, I would say. I expected it out of Belle's emergence just because I saw it last year a little bit. But Randall, she's just she's kind of getting her opportunity and taking big advantage of it.
Let's hope the Tigers get off to their 5-0 start. We'll talk about the week ahead, maybe a little sneak peek at conference, which not too far down the road. We record Tiger Talk at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Do it over the noon hour on Mondays. You can order online at oldchicago.com, where they make your to-go orders a breeze. Old Chicago, your craft beer authority north of the interstate in Hayes. We will take a break and be back with more with Coach Tony Hobson here on Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here.
It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM. Do you believe in love stories?
Well, 94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
Inbound gets to Angelique Gall, and up and under move, and Leggett blocks the shot, gets the rebound going out of bounds, lobs it in to Lainey Page, up ahead to Whitney Randall, pump fake, shoots and scores. The Tigers lead 13-6 in a timeout.
Now, some of the action from yesterday against Chadron State. The Tigers kind of had a throwback Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference weekend. Beat UC Colorado Springs on Saturday and beat Chadron State yesterday to move to 5-0. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. We're at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, north of the interstate in Hayes. Gerard Wellbrock and head women's coach Tony Hobson. The Tigers off to the 5-0 start. You've had an interesting schedule. You had the exhibition games, and obviously got your season started, a couple of games, and off for like a week. You know, you had the week and a half break. You go to Newman, got a hard-fought win, then had the 2 up in Kearney. Now you don't play again until Saturday, and then conference kicks in. It's going to get hot and heavy from that point on, but it's been kind of an interesting start just from you've had probably longer stretches of non-games in practice than I can remember in years past.
Well, it's just I don't know why the last couple of years it's been a struggle to schedule, especially those November games when you maybe try to fit. We don't play many NAIA games, but when you try to fit one in, they've already a lot of them that you like to play. We always like to play Tabor because they usually win that conference, and Sterling's usually up at the top. They've already started conference, so you know you kind of have to fit those in when you can. And we were on the end of a four-year contract deal with the 2 Northern Sun teams at the beginning of the year, and then we got invited up to Kearney to play the Saturday, Sunday. I don't know why we didn't play Friday, Saturday. There was a conflict with the facility, so it just worked out that way. But you know, you would like to spread them out a little bit so you can have a game and then a few practices and then another game. But playing back to back is not always bad. I mean, you know, sometimes you try to, you go into these games and you're almost over-prepared, and then your kids, you know, and I'm not big into, I don't like to over-prepare my kids. I don't want them thinking just every, you know, it's not a, you don't have a video control where you go from A to B to, I mean, basketball is a, you know, you have to have instincts. And if you're.
It's a very fluid game.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have time to think through everything, and you don't have a 30-second break between every play. You know, it's just a different sport. So I don't want them clouded with just technical stuff and what are they going to do. And sometimes you just need to have kind of a clear head and just trust yourself and just play. And I think the second day, like we watched Chadron State play a little bit, but we didn't have a lot of tape on them, and we didn't do a lot of preparation. It's early in the season. I mean, you'd have to go clear back to last year, and that doesn't do you much good. So sometimes it's just good to give them a few concepts and just say, hey, they're going to go man, let's run this. We want to switch here. We don't want to, and just let them go. And it's almost like they can really develop themselves. And sometimes you just have to it's sometimes you just have to make a mistake and learn from it to ever get it ingrained. And those second games sometimes are good that way.
Well, Tigers will play Missouri Valley College at 2 o'clock on Saturday, and then we'll talk more next week on the program because you'll be a day away from the start of conference play with Nebraska Kearney, and then you have Emporia State. But MIAA always competitive. You got the defending national champions who lost down in Texas, then beat a national champ from a few years back in Lubbock Christian, who's always good. Emporia looks to be better. They've got a new coach. It looks to be another dogfight, and you obviously expect to be in the mix, but it's going to be a challenge, and every game is going to mean something big once you start conference play.
Well, it does. We're ready for that. I think I'm already sensing our kids are getting bored, and I told them that they just be careful what you wish for and just do everything between now and then to get ready for it because it'll be here. Kearney looks like they reloaded pretty well. They've got a couple really good freshmen and a couple good returners, so they'll be a good test Tuesday. Emporia State's nationally ranked. They were 24th last week, I believe, and they did get beat on the road, but they're going to be tough.
Yep.
Central Missouri lost down in Texas to a 6-1 team on their floor in double overtime, and I saw the last part of that game, and 2 or 3 shots went in that probably shouldn't have for St. Mary's, but they're a good team. And then they turned around and beat Lubbock Christian, who's was picked to win that league. So, a loss in double overtime on the road is not a sign of their demise by any means. I mean, they're still, it's too bad. But yeah, they're a solid team. So we're going to have, there's going to be a lot of really good tests in our conference. Central Oklahoma's still undefeated. Pitt has only lost once. It looks like they're going to be fine. And again, when they change coaches, they're supposed to drop off a little bit, but they were left some good kids in the program, and the new coach has been there for a long time as assistant and had done a good job recruiting. So it'll be exciting once it gets here, and it'll be here next week.
Yep, week from tomorrow, Nebraska Kearney. Pretty big one to start it off with to begin conference play. Coach, we're going to let you go. We appreciate your time. We'll see you Saturday afternoon at the Coliseum and back here next Monday.
Okay, thanks, Gerard.
There you go. That's head coach Tony Hobson of the Fort Hays State women, off to a 5-0 start. Again, a 2 o'clock tip Saturday afternoon against Missouri Valley College. We're going to take another break. We'll remind you that Tiger Talk recorded during the noon hour on Mondays, so make your plans to join us next week for lunch or stop by anytime at Old Chicago. Burgers, sandwiches, salads, and distinctive taproom fare. It's Old Chicago Pizza and Taproom. Serious craft brews, seriously good food. We'll take a break. Men's coach Mark Johnson will join us after the break right here on Tiger Talk, brought to you by the Tiger Sports Network, by Paul Wurtenberger Construction. Hi, everyone. This is Gerard Wellbrock inviting you to join us for Tiger Talk. We record it over the noon hours Mondays at Old Chicago, north of the interstate in Hays, and play back at 6 o'clock Monday nights on Tiger Radio Mix 103. You can also catch it on Eagle TV's channel 14 and 614, Tuesday and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m., and always on HaysPost.com. So join us for Tiger Talk over the noon hour Mondays at Old Chicago. Tigers can retake the lead. Here's Connor Kinnaman up top to O'Neal. He'll drive down the lane, kick it over to Nicholson for 3. He nailed it from the left corner. Aaron Nicholson with 14, and the Wichita native puts the Tigers up 72-70. Timeout, Newman. Now, some of the action from last Tuesday. The Tigers, unfortunately, coming up a point short to the Newman University Jets. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. We're at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room and record the program over the noon hour on Monday, so we hope you can join us next week for lunch. You can try one of the great pizzas with dough made fresh daily at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room north of the interstate in Hays. We're joined now by head men's coach Mark Johnson. The Tigers 3-3, and on the surface, 3-3. Obviously, you'd like to be better, but when you look at the schedule you've played up to this point, as challenging as it's been, Sioux Falls, who's picked high and will probably contend for the Northern Sun, Southwest Minnesota State, who has contended and has made deep runs in the national tournament to start off with, the 2 Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference schools, and I think Mines has picked second. So you've had a pretty difficult schedule. Don't forget Newman last Tuesday, a very good team down on their home floor. So it's been challenging, obviously, with some very good competition.
Yeah, I think with the exempt tournaments and the way scheduling has happened here lately, the last 3 to 4 years, it's kind of changed our schedule. We've had to play better teams, for better, for worse, and then the timing, you have to do them right out of the block. You can't. We have this little gap in our schedule here in December, but you got to get all those games in. One, you got the exempt tournament. Two, a lot of these other leagues play 22 conference games, so they only have 2 weekends, the opening 2 weekends, to get their games in, and they're playing conference the rest of the way. So you got to get some pretty good teams in. And, like I said, even Newman, I think that was one of Newman's better teams that we've played in recent memory. And three of these games have been away from, Gross, and we just haven't played well. As far, especially on the defensive end, we just haven't guarded very well. And even that Newman game, give those guys a lot of credit, but you sit there and watch film second half, our defense was not where it needs to be and where it's been in years past. And that's probably a big thing we got to keep trying to improve and get better at, is on the defensive end of the floor, because right now, we're just good enough offensively. We're not a team that's going to put 100 on the board and all that, and we can just outscore you. But we have enough offense that if we guard correctly and make it difficult on you, then we do have enough offense to score points.
Yeah, the defense surprised you? Do you feel you'd be a little bit better than you are right now?
Yeah, a little bit. One, I thought we were going to, it felt like we tried to get more athletic, and we have. Those guys, again, some of those guys that are it's new. It's beginning of the year for them, and just trying to figure some things out. And I would say, unless you're a special player, unless you're a Rob Davis type player, Dwayne Brunson, a guy who's going to be a first-team All-League, an All-American guy, it is difficult to come in right away and beat out someone that's been in your program for 3 years. You know what I mean? If there's just a little bit of difference, you're usually not going to beat those guys out, because those guys, one, they just have more experience. They know what's expected. They know what they're supposed to be doing. And then as a coach, especially early in the season when you're playing this kind of competition, here you are, it's a close game with 10 minutes to go. Just your natural tendency is you're going to go with the guys you've been to war with before and have won games with and have been in these battles before. So I think at times, your new guys at times almost, I felt that happened last year to some guys, almost, go backwards instead of forwards as the season progresses a little bit, just because they just can't get comfortable and gain enough confidence. And that's kind of like I said, the toughness about you got to be careful with your non-conference schedule. You make it a little too difficult. It's hard to get your new guys up to speed and ready to go in conference. They just kind of got their confidence kind of beat down when we're starting conference play in a little over a week.
Any thought of trying to move those to a later point in the season?
Sure wish we could. That's the biggest thing. These exempt tournaments is mandated. If you want to get the 2 extra games, you got to do it that opening weekend. I think it would be a great thing to do right before Christmas, the last weekend in December. I think everybody would be closer to who their team is, and you've had, over a month of games. I don't think that's going to change. And, you already look at next year. We're probably a harder schedule to start than we did this year, in the fact that we're changing who we're playing, but we're playing Arkansas Tech and Southwest Oklahoma in Arkansas, and then instead of having Springs and Mines in Hayes, we're having them out in Colorado, and then we're playing Southwest Baptist in Kansas City at the Municipal Auditorium. So, those 5 games right out of the block are all away from home. We will not have one home game in our first 5 games of the season next year. So I'm probably not being very smart with our schedule doing that, but you want to get the exempt tournament, get the 2 extra games, and be able to play 28 instead of 26.
I want to ask you about obviously you got a lot of returners back, and Brady kind of leading the charge, and he's had a tough go. He breaks his nose, 30 minutes into the first practice, and then last weekend with Colorado School of Mines on a dunk, fell hard on his wrist, and looked like maybe that was feeling a little better Saturday, some of the perimeter shots he took, but you could tell that was really bothering him. He's had a tough go.
It was bothering him against Springs. It was bothering him against Newman. I think obviously against Sterling he looked better, and now he's got his mask off. He's finally been able to take his mask off now, and that's always a thing that's hard to play with. Your vision, your just comfort level. And he's done fairly well with all these issues, so hopefully he can stay healthy. Last year that was a big blow to our team. We ended up winning 19 games, and if he doesn't get mono and has to sit out all those games, we're definitely a 20-win season and an impossible NCAA tournament team, so he's valuable. We can't lose Brady. If Brady goes down, that's going to be a significant loss for us. But he's playing well. He's scoring the ball well right now. Really feel like all of our our returners are playing better. You know what I mean? I think Marcus Cooper's playing better. Kyler Kinnaman is giving us more points. Not that we need him to score a lot, but he's not just getting, he's being a guy you have to be aware of and you have to pay attention to. Aaron Nicholson has elevated his game and playing better, playing with more confidence. Trey O'Neal is playing the role that he needs to play and is doing a great job with it. I think Jared's the one guy who's kind of got off to a tough start. Just he was a really good shooter. He kind of didn't shoot it well that opening weekend, and still being a young guy, he's kind of letting that bother him a little bit. But overall, our returners, I think, are playing much, much better than they did a year ago. Peyton's had a lot of problems here physically, so he hasn't really got to get into the flow. And I think we need him a little bit just from he's one of our more mobile big guys and things like that. We seem to be playing nowadays a lot of stretch four-men, guys that can play on the perimeter, shoot threes, and drive it. And he would be a nice addition defensively for us at times.
I'll ask you about Aaron because he's averaging right at 10 points. He had 14 in the Newman game, and another good game against Sterling. Playing with confidence, a good shooter, but almost feels like he's finally gotten past Craig Nicholson's younger brother and he's kind of become his own player right now.
Yeah, Aaron probably, again, even to this, I still think at times he plays too passive and is not doesn't value how good he can be. You know what I mean? I think, you're right. Craig came in, had high accolades, and Craig just had that confidence about him from day one that he was a guy and he was a good player. And I think Aaron has just not believed in himself enough. I think that's still at times he just is not aggressive enough. But he's gotten much better. He's more athletic than he displays at times. He can make tough shots. He, can shoot it at a pretty good level. He works really hard at it. Has made himself a player, and just needs to have more confidence and stay aggressive.
Well, we heard that highlight. He made a big shot at Newman, thought it might get the Tigers over the hump, but unfortunately came up just a little bit short. We're going to take a break. We're going to talk more about the Tigers. Look ahead at a tough game tomorrow night with Central Christian. We record the program Mondays over the noon hour at Old Chicago, the place to watch your favorite football games this fall. And while you're in, join their OC Rewards program. It's free, and new members receive a free appetizer for up to $10 after their first transaction. It's all at Old Chicago, your pizza and tap room authority. We will take our final break, come back with head coach Mark Johnson, and wrap up the program here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
As you plan for your business in 2018, advertising should be an important part of your growth strategy. Digital marketing puts your business in front of the right customers online. Advertising with the Hays Post ensures your message will be viewed 1.5 million times a month, including 375,000 unique views a week. Are you ready to grow your business? Advertise with us today. It's affordable and it works. Call us today at 785-628-0467. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Nicholson goes right wing to O'Neal. 15 seconds to go. Now Brady Worth jump hook. He banks it in. Brady Worth with 11. Tigers by 1. 13 seconds to go. And a timeout called by Fort Hays State.
That was more of the action last Tuesday at Newman. Unfortunately, Tigers come up a little bit short in that contest, losing to the Jets by 1 on a couple of free throws with about 4 seconds to go. And Aaron Nicholson almost hit about a 40-footer at the horn, but wouldn't go, and Newman gets the win. Now the Tigers got a bounce-back win over Sterling and back at home tomorrow as they take on Central Christian out of McPherson. And I know we talked after the game Saturday, Central Christian, NAI Division I now, and of all the NAI teams you face, they've gone from one that you didn't worry too much about to probably the best one. Obviously, they've changed their approach and how they go about it, and that's going to be a big test tomorrow.
No question. I mean, they're in that student athletic conference. Like I said, they're giving full ride scholarships and kind of getting some guys, like I said, the old D2 era, that guys that were eligible to play Division II that aren't anymore now have to go into NAIs, and they're getting those guys. And you can make a strong argument that they're more talented than Newman. They got a good front line. They're athletic. The one guy, number 35, he had 17 at our place last year. Number 15 is a good player. They've added another player, number 4. They're athletic, and we've had a hard time with them the last few years, and I mean, and this will be the last time we play them too. We're not playing them after this year. It's probably dumb. I played them again this year, but it'll be a hard game. It's not just show up and all you got to do is play fairly hard and be successful. I mean, we're going to have to play well tomorrow. We have to lock in, and we've really had a hard time against their athleticism the last few years scoring points. I thought we guarded fairly well last year, but the score was 64-57. We held them. We just couldn't score against them, and we're going to have to score a little bit more. I think they're a better team than they were a year ago. They have more depth. They have more guys that can put the ball in the hole than they did last year. So this is a legit game tomorrow, and we'll have to play well if we want to win.
Well, that'll be tomorrow, and then the conference play just around the corner. And we were talking off air during the break how the MIAA, there's some new coaches out there, and it looks like everybody's improved. Missouri Western, Emporia with their new coach, off to a good start. Northeastern State's better. Lincoln made that jump a couple of years ago. There really aren't any bad teams in the MIAA anymore.
No, there isn't, and that's always been historically the strength of the MIAA is their depth. Well, the depth has never been greater than it is this year in the last few years, and like I said, I think it's even better this year. So, that's just what makes this such a difficult, challenging league. Is everybody talks about and our league's won championships. That's the thing too. But I'd much rather be in a league where there's 3 or 4 really good teams and then a bunch of teams that aren't very good. Because now you just got to But this one, like when I first came here and we were in the RMAC, I remember us practicing to play Southern Colorado 2 weeks before we played them. We still had 2 games in between, but we were spending all of our time on Southern Colorado because the 2 teams we were playing had no chance of beating us. Well, you can't do that anymore.
No.
Every game, and I think you can get your team up for 3 or 4 games a year if that's all you have to do. Well, now we have to be up for every single conference game, whether home, away, or who we're playing, and that's what I'm worried about tomorrow in our schedule. Another kind of thing we didn't, but just couldn't get around it. We just played 4 out of 8 days, and now we're going to play our 5th game in 11 days. And like I said, it's not the physicalness. These are young guys. It's not, are you worried about them physically being tired and they can't play? It's the mental, because you have to be turned up to win a game against good competition. If you're not turned up, ready to go, and at a certain intensity level and focus level, you don't play well, you don't win. And it's more of you got to do that time and time again. And you're doing that 5 times in 11 games. Is difficult. And that's the biggest concern for tomorrow is, are our guys able and mature enough to turn it up one more time here, and then we got kind of a week off before we play our next game.
Going to ask you about some of the newcomers, and obviously when you have them, it's always there's a process. Devin Davis kind of got off to a good start, and now offensively hasn't produced as much. Just talk about some of the new guys and what you hope you can get out of them as the season progresses.
Yeah, Devin really played well offensively the first 3 games, and we need his offense, but he's a real physical guard, and he's just got to get better defensively so we can stay out on the floor. And Freddie, same thing. Freddie's not going to be a guy that gets you double figure scoring, and we knew that, and that's fine. We just need him to be improve our athleticism, be a really good defender, and rebound the basketball, offensive rebound, kind of be a ball chaser. And, I think part of it right now is just this is all new to him as far as our defense and learning. It's not just go out and play. You got to be responsible as far as his team defense, be in positions and know where to be. And he's trying to figure that out. And right now it's just a slow process for him. So he's not out on the floor as much as we would like. And, right now we need to get better defensively, not offensively. So if we can find a guy who can get out there and make us better defensively, which I think he's the number 1 candidate on our team, there's a lot of playing time for you. He's just got to get it all figured out, and hopefully he does that soon, because I think he can make us better. Again, he's not going to be a guy that scores 14, 12. He's just going to go get us 5 or 6 points, try to get us 5 or 6 rebounds, and be a great defender out there.
All right, sounds good. We're going to let you go. We appreciate it as always. We'll see you tomorrow night, and when we get back here next Monday, we'll take a little preview look more in depth at the MIAA. Because, by the way, next Tuesday you start conference play.
All right.
That's head coach Mark Johnson of the Fort Hays State Tigers. And again, reminder, you can catch the video replay of Tiger Talk Tuesday and Wednesdays, 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on Eagle Cable Channel 14 and 614. And you can always watch online at HaysPost.com. Just hover over that Eagle TV icon and up in the top left and click on Tiger Radio or Tiger Talk for the program. Tiger Talk brought to you again this evening by the HaysMed Orthopedic Institute, part of the University of Kansas Health System, by the Taco Shop, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, Adams Brown, Barron and Ball, BTI, Horizon Appliance and Mattress, Valley Hope of Norton, and Eagle Communications, and of course brought to you by Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, home of the World Beer Tour. 110 beers from around the world. Ask for details the next time you're in here at Old Chicago and begin your World Beer Tour. Old Chicago, your pizza and craft beer authority. We've got Tiger basketball for you tomorrow. The Tiger men and Central Christian. It tips off at 7. We'll be on the air at 6:30 with the Auto World pregame show. And then Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock tip, 1:35 Auto World pregame to Tiger women and Missouri Valley College. We'll see you next Monday right here on Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayspost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.